What's up, everybody? This is Chris Reifert from AUTOPSY, and you are listening to Heavy Demons Radio.
So, dear Chris, what shall the fans expect from your long-awaited full-length return, Morbidity Triumphant?
I would just expect a new AUTOPSY record.
Yeah.
If you did not like us before, you will still not like us.
Yeah.
And if you did like us before, I think you probably still will, because it sounds like an AUTOPSY record, which is exactly what we pretty much always go for. So, yeah, just kind of more of what you want, hopefully, and no experimental surprises or anything like that. Just heavy, brutal, all that fun stuff.
How would you describe the genesis and the eventual recording and production of the songs for the new album?
Well, we had to do it in a hurry. That was one thing, because we had just played a show in January in Los Angeles, and we had to be in Portugal in when was that? Beginning of May. Mm-hmm. So we only had a small amount of time to finish writing the album, because before the January show, there was no shows over here because of the pandemic. There was almost 2 years of nothing, and so beginning of this year, all of a sudden, all the shows were rescheduled, but in different times, like different months from what they were, because everything had to be redone in whatever way was possible. And because there's a vinyl shortage, you have to plan your records out like 6 to 9 months in advance. And so we didn't want it to be 2023 when we had a new album come out, because it already had to wait, a couple of years because of the pandemic, and then it'd been a few years since we've done a proper full length. So I guess what I'm getting at is we had a very small window of time to use to make the album in between Los Angeles and Portugal shows. So we had to finish writing really fast and get in the studio and get it recorded without fucking around and wasting time or anything like that. We had to do it rather quickly in order to get it done on time, not only for the vinyl, which I was telling you about because of the shortage and all that, but also we had to sort of forget all those new songs that we just recorded and get back to the live set stuff that we had just done in Los Angeles to play in Portugal. So we had to after we finished recording the album, we only had a couple of weeks to get ready to play live again. So it was a little bit stressful making the album just because of time constraints, but maybe that was good, because it made us really use all the mental and physical energy we had to make the record happen. So when you listen to it, we're giving it everything we got. We weren't sitting around in the studio being lazy, watching movies or whatever, just sitting around. We were busy every second of the day, and so that's what it was like making that album. It was definitely a sense of urgency, a lot of sort of looking at the clock and looking at the calendar and going, oh shit, got to get this done. So it was crazy, it was kind of wild getting it done, but we did it. So we're happy about that, that we even got it done at all.
Yeah, and the approach to the recording, I suppose, I don't know if I'm right, was more organic rather than digital.
Oh, no, it's all digital. Everything's digital now.
It sounds fucking amazing then.
Oh, thanks. Well, appreciate that. That's not even how, we haven't recorded with actual analog tape since, the 90s. I don't know of any studios that, I'm sure there's some out there, but I don't know where any are where you record analog on actual tape. Everything's Pro Tools now, and, so we've been recording that way since we got back together. But that's fine. It's not even whether you record on tape or digital that makes records sound the way they sound. It's there's different factors. A lot of bands, do things like have the drums triggered, or things like that, or guitars really, really processed.
Yeah.
And we want to sound like a real band, like actual human beings, and And Adam Munoz, who's been recording us for a long time now, he knows what we're going for. We don't want to sound like computers or something, or robots. We want to sound like a real band. Playing real instruments by real people. And part of it with this album also is because of how fast we had to do it. We didn't have a lot of time to overanalyze the mix. We had I think 8 days from the time we walked in the studio door to the time it was completely mixed. So it was pretty fast.
Yeah.
So that's part of it too. We didn't have time to fuck around and make it super perfect. And I think that worked to our advantage.
Tell us something about the more than sick, awesome cover artwork.
Oh yeah, Wes. Man, Wes is nuts. We didn't have much to do with that, which was, was pretty easy for us. He just sent us a pencil sketch, just to show kind of what he was thinking, in terms of the sort of the shape or layout of it, I guess. And then, he'd send us progress reports through emails, just to make sure we liked where it was going. And we did, we loved it. And so he all those ideas he came up with himself. We didn't tell him, draw this or paint that. I sent him a few song titles and maybe a little bit of lyrics. Yeah. And then the rest was all up to him. He didn't even really follow any of the lyrics or anything like that. He just came up with his idea with his own imagination, and we were as shocked as everyone else, how, in our opinion, how cool it was, and it's we worked with Wes several times now, and I think every time he does a cover for us, we always tell each other oh, this is the best one so far, and we looked at this one, we're like, yep, best one so far. So yeah, he's great, man. He's so cool.
Going back to the past, talking about the extreme metal scene, which are your best and worst memories of the late 80s and early 90s?
There's so many. Best is probably when we first put our first album out, which was Severed Survival, just because that was our first album, so that was really special, and it wasn't even we were in somebody else's band, it was our band that we created, from nothing. So that, if I just had to pick one thing, it would probably be that, worst is probably just when the band broke up, but it had to happen, that's just how it was at that time. But shit happens, and we remain friends, obviously, because here we are, doing this again still. It's already been 13 years since we reformed, and, we're still all very close friends and everything. So, sometimes things happen in a weird way, but that's just how it is. But I try not to think about worst memories, because I could probably think of a whole bunch if I wanted to, but there's no point, I'd rather think of the cool stuff, that was fun or funny or interesting or strange or whatever. There's a lot,
Which are your memories of Death as a band and Chuck as a human being?
All good. I all good memories. I know some people, had problems with him later and stuff like that, but that was never the case with me, fortunately, because when I was in the band, it was, we weren't signed to a label yet. We achieved that and made the record and all that, but it was nice for me because it was a very innocent time in the band. We were both teenagers still, not even old enough to buy beer or anything like that, although we did anyways, somehow. I'm not even sure how we did, but we did. But it was just a lot of fun. And, as a human being, we were best friends at that time, so it was just the two of us. We couldn't even find any other musicians, a guitar player or bass player or anything. So it's just the two of us the entire time. So we became really close friends. But yeah, it was great. It was not a long period of time. My time in Death was maybe, a little over a year, maybe a year and a half at the most. So it was rather brief, but it was excellent. I actually remember all of it, every single thing that we did, and everything about making the album and all that. And it was a lot of fun. There was no stress. I know we had lots of battles with record labels and stuff over the years, and sometimes other band members and things like that. But fortunately, in my case, it was all just really positive and cool, and pretty much good times the whole time.
Now, I have to ask you this as a huge fan of Gigi Allen and as a friend of his brother, Merle. May we dream to hear a new Eat My Fuck album, and what does this project mean for you?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that was just like a one-time thing, just for the hell of it, Yeah, I'm surprised you even know about that. Most people don't know about that. No, I think that was just a one-time thing. I don't know. We were just in the mood to do that. So, I mean, if you get in the mood to do it again someday, maybe, but probably not. It was a good time though, for what I remember of it.
Which are your favorite bands outside the metal area?
Oh man, so many. It's like, I don't know if I could pick any just one, or because I'm sort of a crazy music collector, and I'm definitely not just metal or just punk or whatever. I mean, I'm all over the place. It's I don't know. I'd probably take an hour just to think of like names I'd want to mention. It's a little bit overwhelming.
Which final message and greeting would you send out to the Italian fans waiting for you? And have you got any Italy-related memories in your life?
I've never been to Italy before, so I don't. I would like to. Maybe someday we'll get to play there. Who knows? But so far we've not had the opportunity. So I don't have any memories of going there, being there. But hopefully that'll change someday. That would be nice. But in terms of messages to anyone that's listening, thank you for not only for listening, but supporting the band and just being awesome. And we appreciate everybody.